incredibly, we lost so many people this past month. I mean, uh, as I said, Ann B. Davis from Brady Bunch, Ruby Dee, um, Oscar-nominated actress. Um, Used to work with her husband, Ossie Davis, the late Ossie Davis, particularly in Pearly on Broadway, and then also in the movies like Do the Right Thing. Um, Maya Angelou, Dr. Maya Angelou. Um, she will be, she will always be remembered. She'll never be forgotten. I only knew her most as an actress before I knew her as a poet. I remember when she played one of the elders in the original miniseries Roots. That was way, I think, back in '77, yeah. And I remember back in '79. Well, that's the year her autobiography, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, was made into a made-for-TV movie, and it had Ruby Dee, actually, and Diane Carroll, as well as Esther Roll, as we know from Florida from Good Times. One of the coolest things that I remember about Maya Angelou was she gave a poet. She did some poetry for President Bill Clinton's first inauguration. And I'll never forget, I was still in college at the time, and it was very moving to see her, in my lifetime, not just as an actress, in period pieces or being a guest on Oprah, but seeing her as a poet, doing what she does best, being a poet. It just kind of warms my heart a little bit. Her doing reciting a poem that she wrote specifically for President Clinton's first inauguration. That was definitely a moment frozen in time, and I really loved it, really enjoyed it. What's even more unforgettable was that she did the poem "I Rise" for the the UNCF United Negro College Fund, where a mind is a terrible thing to waste, that their tagline was. And I remember saying that poem, and I have to admit though, back then as well as even now, I still get choked up about it, because I was in college at the time when actually I take that back. I was almost finished with college, and seeing and hearing what she said about "I am the dream and the hope of the slave," basis made you think back of all the ancestors who were denied education, denied having the freedom to actually cracking open a book, to open up a book, to read a book, to learn the alphabet. They didn't have that type of freedom. Many of them died for that, because the slave owners knew that if they were able to be literate, they would no longer accept being in slavery. And seeing that PSA, especially looking back, it kind of puts everything into perspective.
Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I rise. Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak miraculously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the hope and the dream of the slave. And so
Please support the United Negro College Fund.
I think the first time I saw it, I think it was like I would want to say, I think it was like about a week or maybe a month before I graduated. And seeing that now, many years later, I'm very, very fortunate. Even though I never met her, but I'm very, very fortunate that I was able to have, or at least to know of a Maya Angelou in my lifetime.